All right. Lauren, LB, you want to get started?
Yeah, so I'll first off say, all of you in here, if you guys have questions, I'm going to be trying to man the chat as best I can. So feel free to drop them in there and I will do my best to keep track of them and, stop when it makes sense to get those questions answered.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a little disclaimer out here. I am a little sick and fighting something over the last couple of days, so bear with me. If my voice starts to go out a little bit, Lauren's going to be picking me up over here. So, we're one team, one dream. Shon Washington in the house. Thank you for helping us here, set everything up and coordinate. But appreciate everybody joining us here. Lauren and I are working our tails off to get this program off the ground, and we're super excited about it. This is a business development apprenticeship program at Shift, where it's really designed to be world-class on-the-job learning for the military community, looking to develop basically into future leaders in the fields of business development, strategic partnerships, and B2B tech sales. Today, we're going to basically talk about our introductions, myself, Lauren, ultimately how we got here, ultimately how this program came about. We'll talk a little bit more about Shift and what a BDR actually is and how we're thinking about structuring this program. So again, please ask questions. Please be engaged. This is for you guys, and super excited to walk y'all through it. Lauren, anything else to add before we get started?
No, I think that's perfect.
Awesome. All righty, Shaun, next slide. My name is Shon Krilanovich. Crazy long last name. I'm actually from the Bay Area, California, born and raised. And I did not serve active military. However, my wife did. We actually met as she was going through career transition herself, where she was in the Air Force for 5.5 years, did a small 6-month stint in the Army, where she was based out of Iraq as well. We met as she was going through transition and I was graduating college at San Jose State University, and I was starting my first ever job. And that job was being a commercial insurance broker. No one really grows up wanting to be a commercial insurance broker. My uncle at the time was a very successful one, was the CEO of a company. I got to see firsthand how successful his lifestyle was, and I wanted to try to emulate it. And I was there for 6 years. It was definitely some of the best sales training I think I've ever had. And man, I learned a ton. You go through that entire process. Oh, getting a little bit of feedback there. Okay, I think I'm good. Anyways, as a commercial insurance broker, I did it for 6 years. Wasn't quite sure really what I wanted to do in my career. It was my first college job. And, one day, after looking back at everything that I had done, I realized that I really enjoyed what I did. I just couldn't stand the industry. And I made a difficult choice to basically throw away 6 years of my career, where I had spent a ton of time educating myself on the space, networking, building my book, and really starting fresh in a brand new industry with no connections, to become a BDR. And I had a lot of friends in the technology industry growing up in the Bay Area. They were BDRs and spoke highly of what the role did for them and what it was all about. And I decided to take a chance myself. Fast forward to where we're at today. I've been in the tech industry for about 10 plus years now. I've done everything from SDR, BDR, kind of the same thing, interchangeable terms, to account executive, to BDR and sales leadership. I've worked at companies that are super small startups, more mature startups, and larger publicly traded companies, and various different industries. I'm currently in Nashville, Tennessee, where I've been since 2016, and been literally obsessed with approaching the BDR training and formalizing what that looks like since 2017, which is essentially when I met Lauren. I think that's a great little segue into kind of moving into Lauren and her introduction. Lauren, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Lauren, as you can see, I was born and raised in Ohio, and I graduated from the University of Cincinnati. You can see that cool picture, I guess, of me playing tennis. I played tennis there. And when I graduated, I had zero work experience. and very limited connections. I had a lot of connections in the sport world, but that was about it. I was also looking to, explore elsewhere and move different states. And thankfully, I got an opportunity with Shaun. We had a few on the phone interviews, and he took a chance on me. And for this BDR role, and like I said, I had zero experience, but me being able to explain my work ethic and my characteristics that I built as a tennis player, I think really enticed him to giving me a chance. Fast forward a few years, I'm still living in Nashville. I was a BDR, promoted to manager. Shaun and I have been working together for a while now, and we've helped grow multiple BDR teams and get 10 plus reps promoted internally. That's just me. Shaun has like 30 plus, I feel like, on his side.
It's us together.
Yeah, it's a team for sure. But you can kind of see like the fun things to put on the right-hand side. I think, you have like that meme at the bottom of dentist says like, you need to stop grinding your teeth. And the student athlete is like, I'm not going to stop grinding. The grind never stops. And I put that because I feel like a lot of you veterans can relate to that. You guys don't have any days off. You're always chasing that dream, always going above and beyond. And me, going through something different, I also built those characteristics. So even though I'm not a veteran, I try my best to relate. And that's why I feel like taking all those characteristics into this role is a great key to success.
Awesome. So who is Shift? A lot of you all are familiar, clearly. It's why you're here today. But I feel like it's a good place to start just to kind of get everyone on the same page around what our mission is and what we're ultimately doing. Because the folks that embark upon the BDR program here today are going to be a part of this mission, and it's important. And everything that we do circulates around career advancement for military members, past and present. Mike loves this photo. He'll tell you himself. But there's essentially like 4 different parts that fall into that common mission here that we're trying to accomplish. This is for active duty. These are for folks in career transition, getting out of the military, and also post-military. And then finally, what we're really circulating around and what this BDR program is really tied closely to is simplified veteran hiring for hiring partners. Our hiring partners pay us at Shift a subscription to access our software platform to find diverse, high quality pipelines of ready to hire military talent. We have got a brand new product offering that's been live now for almost a year. And we're getting ready to hit the gas. We're proving it out. We're getting a lot of really high growth, exciting companies that a lot of folks haven't really heard of, and connecting the two with career opportunities on the military community side of things. And it all starts here on the BDR side. So Shaun, I don't know where you disappeared to, but if you can go to the next slide. Oh, there it is. Awesome. So how did this BDR apprenticeship come about? Well, as I mentioned, we are gearing up to scale our go-to-market team through business development, specifically here at Shift. Given the success that we've seen early on this year with bringing on more companies to hire more veterans on our software platform, we believe that it's necessary to start thinking about how we attract, develop, and train our own pool of talent as we get ready to scale our go-to-market team. And it all starts here. And what that means is Shift is going to pay you to learn business development full-time at our company. Those who successfully complete this program will ultimately receive a promotion. And that's the idea, and that's the goal. We invest a ton of time and energy into training and developing our talent, which is why that everybody that we bring into this program, we have every hopes that you will completely advance within the company itself. And this is a 12-month registered apprenticeship program recognized by the U.S. Department of Labor. To be completely honest with you, I believe this is the first of its kind. I haven't heard one similar to this. I'm not sure why, but man, everything that we're doing is exactly what that is. And I'll explain a little bit more what that is here in a second. And finally, who are we looking to attract for this? We're looking for transitioning military members, veterans, spouses, and anyone really deeply connected to the community. There's been a lot of really good questions recently around, well, I already used my GI Bill benefit. Am I still eligible for this? Yes, you are. Utilizing your GI Bill benefit ties to the fact that this is a fully registered apprenticeship with the U.S. Department of Labor, and it's just an option if you chose to use it for something like this. Doesn't mean you have to. And it doesn't mean that if you don't have the ability to use it, that you shouldn't be applying to this program. You absolutely can. So I just wanted to make sure that I clarify that piece as well, because those are really good questions. But ultimately, our vision and our belief, Mike and I are extremely aligned on this, our CEO, that we need to get to a place where career growth and learning are visible and accessible and affordable for everybody. And the diversity of someone's experience and achievements are fairly assessed and celebrated. I can tell you numerous stories at a separate time where honestly, like some of the experiences and ways that people decide to hire talent within this type of role specifically simply don't matter. Now, it's how you can convey those experiences and convey those achievements and make it relevant to what this role is and why you want it. That's the connection. There's got to be a story there, and it's got to align somehow. And there's also a lot of characteristics and soft skills that translate extremely well to doing very good in this role and for years to come. And then finally, what we really believe in and the opportunity that we're providing is that transitions across industry should advance someone's career rather than hold them back. I've seen this happen firsthand with my wife as she transitioned out of the military. Super rocky. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this as well that are on this conversation. And that's ultimately what we're looking to change. Is it shouldn't have to be. And there needs to be some companies, and we believe we are one of them, that can help make it a much more smooth process. So I'll pause right here. Lauren, I don't know if you want to chime in or mention anything that I may have missed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point. I think you've done a good job of explaining the purpose of this. Mainly, like I said, even in my last slide, we really want to use everyone's characteristics to, hone in on this BDR apprenticeship. But yeah, we can keep going. Don't know what just happened.
We could keep going, but the slide deck disappeared. It's funny though. In all my years in tech, it wouldn't be anything if we didn't have any technical difficulties on the conversation. So
no, yeah.
Worst case scenario, we could just start playing games.
Might as well. It's just us talking, which both of our worst nightmares. But there we
go. Perfect. Shaun, go to the next slide for us. All right. So what is a registered apprenticeship program? A lot of you are probably fairly familiar with this term. It's simply just a national structured training and employment program registered with the U.S. Department of Labor. To become a fully registered apprenticeship program, it needs to embrace 5 core components. And it needs to be employer involved, structured on the job learning with related technical instruction, which we have built into our curriculum that we'll touch on here in a little bit. We need to be able to provide rewards for skills that are gained. And very much at the end, you'll receive your national occupational credential for completing the program. This specific apprenticeship, I want to be very clear, is not hourly. It is a competency-based apprenticeship, which, in my experience, a lot of companies where they fail with BDRs and BDR programs is a lot of them are looking for ways to keep BDRs in the role longer that are being successful because they worry if they remove them from the role, they have to replace them with somebody that's less tenured and therefore hurts the business numbers. It's a bad way of looking at it. If someone's really doing well within the role and they've expressed all their competencies that we ask them to do and they're ready for that next level and that next jump, why hold them back? And that's why we've designed the program the way that we have, is when people develop at their own pace and depending upon when you have actually reached that level for the next level of promotion, it's your opportunity to jump on up. And that's how this program is designed. So now, what is business development? I don't even know if there's a clear-cut answer to this question. It's kind of one of those mystery roles that depending upon who you talk to, you get a different answer for. It's really not a specific black and white definition as well. However, the easiest way that I describe what a BDR is it is a critical function within a sales organization. And honestly, in my opinion, one of the most difficult things to do in all of sales and all of go-to-market. And it is where BDRs are tasked with outreach, prospecting, and lead qualification. You're not necessarily focused on closing business, but ultimately connecting with as many potential leads as possible and determining if they're good fits for our value and what we offer. It's essentially solution-based problem solving that drives innovation. And the way that I break it down is this role is twofold in everything. You're basically doing two different parts across various different areas of the role. And what I mean by that is you're doing a little bit of sales, but you're also developing at the same time. You're fielding people that are raising their hand, wanting to learn more information around your company and your company's offering, and you need to qualify them to make sure that they're actually good fits and should be progressed through the process. But also, you need to track down folks who aren't necessarily raising their hand wanting information about us, but we believe should be, and here's why. And that's an art all in its own. Speaking of which, it's an art and a science all in itself. You've got to be creative. You've got to differentiate yourself. You've got to stand out. You got to try new things. Oh, there we go. But also, it's very much a science where you've got to be very disciplined in your day-to-day. You've got to know exactly what you're going to do, what your goals are, how you're striving towards it, and hit certain numbers and metrics to make sure that the volume is there to complement the art and the actual authenticity of it. And then finally, it's not just the quantitative results that you're measured on. This is a huge mistake that a lot of companies make as well that I've seen in the past. They get fixated on the numbers. Numbers are important. It's a go-to-market org. However, it's just as important to be focused on the qualitative competencies as well, which are the soft skills that we need to actually make sure that you're developing the right way. Things that often get overlooked, presentation skills, and things like that. And I'll explain a little bit more what we mean by qualitative competencies later on, but those are things that we work on within this role as well. And then finally, as you're in the actual role and on the job, it's really a solution-based problem-solving approach. You cannot connect or quote unquote sell anything if you don't learn and understand who it is you're talking to. You might as well not even do it. And it's one of those things where the information itself and what you're doing and what you're going after has to connect in some way to value that can help solve a challenge or an initiative that individual has. And if it's done right, not only can the business get a ton of new business pipeline to keep a lot of sales opportunities going, but your people who are doing it are developing into future leaders and future sellers within the organization that are primed for internal promotion. And that's how you get to a BDR organization that's built to scale. And this is how you launch many, many careers at this level. Lauren, did I miss anything? Do you want to touch on anything here?
Yeah, I think you did a good job of explaining it. I think even going back to the whole art and science thing, I always like using this analogy that being a BDR is like cooking and not baking. In baking, you have to be exact. You miss a little bit of salt or add too much flour and your cookies are going to suck. But with cooking, you kind of just have like the framework and you have your ingredients, but you can always add things, take out things depending on taste. Being a BDR is the same thing. Shaun and I are going to give you the tools to be successful. We will train you on things like, Salesforce and other sales training. But it's up to you to kind of put your own twist on it. There's going to be a lot of different people out there doing the same thing as you, but we want you to be yourself. We don't want you to be me or Shaun. We want you to be yourself. So I think that's a really good way to take out of it. We'll give you the structure, but be yourself. We also have a question. It's not directly towards business development. It's about Shift as a whole. So I feel like this could be a good time to answer it. Tom asks, how does Shift ensure the people listed on, how does Shift ensure the people listed in the Talent Spotlight tool are high functioning, talented, driven people that companies can count on and utilize?
Shaun, this sounds to me like a career accelerator plug. You want to take it?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I will take it. So that is a great question. I know that sales is one of those career routes that isn't immediately on a lot of folks' radar, whether they're transitioning from the military or even college. It kind of has a little bit of a bad reputation, a little bit of stigma attached to it. So we have a program called Career Accelerators that's meant to more or less demystify sales in general as a career path, along with teaching a couple of key methodologies, concepts, outlining career paths that you can take once you actually jump into that sort of job function. And we have industry guests come on every week as well. Folks who are director level or above who have made the transition successfully from the military, now built careers in sales, and they share their hard-won knowledge around the steps that they took to move forward and advance their careers, things that you should be on the look for as somebody who's looking to break into the industry. If you're already a sales professional and you're looking to move into like a different vertical or jump from being an AE to a sales manager, it's a great opportunity for you to have access to individuals who've already made that journey and can give you tips and tricks as far as how to set yourself up for long-term success as you continue to build out your career. And then on top of all of that, you're in this sort of, I would say, silo community with other veterans and transitioning service members, all marching towards the same goals as far as being in a sales or customer facing role. And what happens there is that it becomes a great way to crowdsource professional development, exchange resources, help each other with resume reviews, tips and tricks around interviews and all that stuff. So the Career Accelerator is meant to sort of cover all the bases as far as things that you would encounter leading up to the point where you're actually in the sales role itself.
Yeah, and that's what everything that our community team is focused on, Tom, and the rest of everyone here is making sure that everybody that wants to get connected to one of our hiring partners that's paying a subscription to access and hire veterans and military members on our talent tools platform are going through a Career Accelerator type program to make them more a polished candidate by the time they get in front of these hiring partners. That's really the idea. Perfect. So how are we structuring our specific BDR apprenticeship program? The way to think of this is it's broken up into two different parts. The 12-week intensive BDR training and the 9-month on-the-job learning, BDR performance-based. So let's first talk about the 12-week intensive BDR training. A lot of questions have come around like the format and what the differences are between both of these sections. So please, if you have questions, feel free to put them over here in the chat area and we'll address them at this time. But the 12-week intensive BDR training is essentially the time frame that Lauren and I have really identified to really focus on building the foundation of every single BDR that we have through the program. And it's really focused on 3 different areas: curriculum-based roadmaps and like training, like that related technical instruction that we're partnering with a company to utilize, tools and systems training, all the stuff that we use and things like that, and then shift specific training. And some of those examples can include things like Salesforce. How do you use it? How do we use it? Like, what are the processes and the playbook and all that fun stuff? Sales engagement platform training. This is a huge component of our day-to-day. So how do you effectively utilize that to maximize your time and also make sure it ties into Salesforce and what it all looks like? Social selling 101, how to effectively utilize social media as a way to get the company's value out and ultimately gain opportunities at that point in time. But also effective and efficient research tactics and what you're looking for and how long you should be looking for certain things and where to look and all that stuff. And then some of the classes we're going to be focusing on here are like persona master classes, understanding the buyers and what they care about and what their roles and responsibilities are. Neat selling is kind of a sales methodology that ties into solution-based selling. This is a specific methodology that we'll be utilizing as well to kind of talk through a little bit more about tactics and how to break through from a problem-solving standpoint. And then ultimately how to sell shift and really everything that we're about and all the ins and outs of what we do. You'll also get an opportunity during this period to hear from weekly speakers and mentors on various topics that they're experts in. This is a really tight-knit community, the BDR space, and a lot of people are very gracious with their time, who love to basically give tips and tricks and are trying to help more people do better at this craft and this role. And we've lined up a really incredible speaker series where you'll hear from a different person every single week that has also volunteered to really be a resource and a mentor for folks after the fact on various different topics. And then finally, we're going to be certifying you on filling the funnel. John Barrows is a very well-known, well-respected name in this industry. He's got a ton of amazing content that we've subscribed to as our course-based curriculum, with a couple of certifications within that we're going to be putting every single person through. And after this 12-week intensive BDR training, once you successfully complete it and go through that first initial performance evaluation, you'll enter into more of the BDR performance aspect of the program, which is the next 9-month on-the-job learning piece. And this is where you're really focused on creating new business opportunities with high growth companies that are looking to implement a veteran hiring initiative. What better spot to do that than here? It's not like you're selling a mobile app development device. It's not like you're selling leads. It's not like you're selling, something that you just are trying to get behind, but you just can't. What better mission to sell and get behind than trying to find more companies to hire veterans? It's awesome. And from here, we'll basically continue to develop through like a formalized career path that Lauren and I usually manage and put together, where we'll be focusing on a lot of more specific skill-based development roadmaps. And these include things like how to build your personal brand, how to utilize video in your approach, how to, maximize a call so that it's not the cold calls that everybody thinks that they are, right? How to develop messaging, how to communicate up, how to communicate down, and all those sorts of little skills that fall into the role within itself. And then finally, we're going to be doing performance evaluations every single quarter. And they will be not only based on quantitative targets, as I mentioned before, it's an equal 50-50 split between the qualitative competencies as well, that we're seeing how well you're progressing against, because this is how we've registered the apprenticeship program with the U.S. Department of Labor. And then at the very end of the program, before anybody can become promotion eligible, we'll be putting everybody through the John Barrow's version of Driving to Close certification. So a couple certifications built within the program right now, a lot of course material ongoing, heavy training on the 12-week side of things, very much more on the job learning BDR performance based role on the 9-month piece. And it's broken down by quarter within each. So I just covered a lot of information right there. I'm probably going to pause real quick. I don't know if Lauren, you want to add any color, or if we have any questions that we want to address.
Yeah. I think question-wise, we're good, but I think this just really does show the whole like art and science to it, and how we'll give you the tools, we'll train you how you should be trained, but we also want you to be yourself. We're going to give you that freedom. We pride ourselves on being organized in that front and making sure that you guys get all of that support. We're very hands-on with this.
We must be doing a heck of a job, because there's not a whole lot of questions that have popped up throughout this. So
has to be more.
Please do not be shy. If you have a question, none of them are dumb. Like, I guarantee you other people have them.
Yeah. And if you don't know, drop them in the comment section on that link, so I'm able to see them pretty easily. So go ahead and drop as many questions as you have.
Awesome. Shaun, next slide. Beautiful. All right. So what are we talking about when we say quantitative results and qualitative competencies? This is just kind of a sneak peek. There's a lot more involved in both of these. But just to kind of give you an example of what we mean, these are the types of things that we're talking about. Like, how many activities are we doing on a regular basis? It's not that we're actually, holding you to a specific, like, micromanaged number of this. Everybody does it a little bit different. Some are super high volume, some are a little bit lower. And it just depends on who you are as an individual. We want to map and see where your success is coming. We track it all. How many meaningful connections are you doing on a regular basis? This is probably one of the more important daily metrics that we look at. How many number of sales qualified leads are you passing off to our team? Because we have done our due diligence to qualify them the right way and set them up for success. And then ultimately, how many of those turn into accepted opportunities into the seller's pipeline once they've had those initial conversations themselves? And what does that relate to in a dollar amount type figure? And then finally, as we talk about the other end of it, those qualitative competencies. I used to talk about this all the time, and Lauren could probably contest to this when I was at Forrester, around like, it's not just about hitting the number. It's not just about hitting the number. It's not just about hitting the number. And every single person would be like, well, what the heck do you mean? And it's one of those things where, I knew what I meant. I couldn't really explain it because it's kind of a feel aspect of it. And this was one of the big areas that Lauren and I think, really, really rolled up our sleeves and really came down and figured out, was all the big, like, top performing people that have gone on to be super successful from this program have really, really improved these 4 areas. And this is what we are talking about in terms of those competencies that we heavily focus on within the training aspect. And this is your time management and how process oriented are you. And we define this very, very specifically. And it doesn't just stop at that 12-month training in terms of what we mean by that. It's ongoing as you're going through, and it evolves in definition in the 9-month on-the-job learning. Same thing with critical thinking and being solution-oriented. These are competencies that we're constantly talking about and drilling into. How resilient and adaptable are you? Things change all the time in tech. Shaun, you know this. It is wild. It's fast-moving. It's constantly changing. Things that are going great one day can go horrible the next day. And it's how resilient and adaptable are you, right? Which is another main reason why I'm super fired up to work with military community members. You guys already have that embedded in you. And then finally, the communication and presentation piece of it. This is super important and is only going to get more important as you move on to leadership roles later on down the road. This never stops. How do you communicate? Not just externally with sales prospects and whatnot, but internally with your company and executive leaders and things like that. When you're interviewing and looking for promotions, you're presenting and communicating all the time in your lives. And it's one of those like afterthought things that no one really takes the time to focus on. And we do a heavy emphasis on this here in this program. And then finally, helping kind of map out like the quarter system and how we manage this. Yes, it's 2 different parts, the 12-week and the 9-month. However, quarter 1 is really where it's around successfully completing that 12-week training period. And at the end, we'll do a performance evaluation with bonus potential involved. Quarter 2, now we're trying to finally establish ourselves as a successful, efficient BDR. Now that we're on the job and doing the role. And we're going to do a performance evaluation with bonus potential right after that. And at the end there, the top performers at the end of that 6-month mark could be eligible for level 1 promotion right then and there. Again, why hold you back if you're a top performer and you've done all the competencies we've asked you to do? Same thing with quarter 3. Now it's not about the fact of like, okay, I got to get promoted. It's no. I've got to take what I just did and proved as a successful, efficient BDR. I got to dig deeper and I got to take my skill sets to the next level. And that's what we make sure that we focus on in this area. And from there, at the end of Q3, the top performers also have another opportunity to earn level 1 promotion if it's available. And then finally, at the successful completion of the BDR program, this is where you are basically proving that path to promotion. There'll be a final performance evaluation with bonus potential again. And this is how the whole apprenticeship program is structured. Do we have any questions that we want to address here?
Yeah, we got a bunch. I was waiting to jump in, but I wanted you to get through all of that. We have a bunch of them. David's asking about NCOER and relating it to our qualitative competencies. I can take that one. To be very transparent with you, Shon Washington may be able to speak to that in detail, but I can say yes, based on what I know about it, it's similar. It's not the same, but it's a good comparison. We have someone else asking about the day-to-day rigor of the role and internship for work-life balance. Armando, it sounds like you own a small business, but trying to get into tech sales, but it's also been tough. Totally understand that. This is full-time, just standard 8 to 5. So I hope that helps you. Shaun, I'm going to kick over a few questions to you, Shaun K. Josh is asking, he said, Shaun, I know I asked you this the other day, but still looking on clarification for MHA benefits if using GI Bill. From my reading, the VA says your MHA is based on where the company is located. Does this change since it's a remote program? Would it be based in Nashville or San Francisco or where the candidate is located?
It's a great question, Josh. I'm still awaiting clarification on this one. My gut still tells me that since we are a remote company and our apprenticeship program is being based out of Nashville, Tennessee, where Lauren and I both are, it's based on where the apprentice is physically located and doing the job. So go with that for now. Don't quote me on it, but I'm still waiting on an answer from our resources there to get more clarity.
Yeah, Josh also has another question about if you get promoted at the end of Q2, what exactly does that mean? Are you out of the program at that point? Do you get a pay increase? What does that mean?
You get a promotion, you have successfully graduated from the program. and you're moving on to bigger and better things within Shift and the organization. You definitely get a pay increase for what that role entails. And we listed on the job description right now, a level 1 promotion to account executive, for an example, here at Shift. You can earn $130,000 a year with your on-target earnings on that. It's very lucrative. This is a role where you're learning what is necessary to get to that next space and really launch that career. And that's really what we're striving towards here. If Lauren and I are doing our job, we no longer will see you in this role in 12 months, and you've moved on to bigger and better things. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah. Dan's asking, is the Q1 during the 12-week training, or does that start after? So I hope this answers your question, but our first cohort starts October 1st. And that's when the 12-week training. October 4th. Sorry. I just assumed first, but could be a Saturday. And that is when the 12-week training starts. Shaun, we also have Amber asking, if you're a transitioning service member, when would be the best time to apply for the program within your transition? Must I wait until I'm completely discharged, or can I apply whenever? Great question.
Yeah, it depends on the question on that one. That's a really good question. Is when are you available to start? Yeah. So if you're available to start on October 4th in this program, apply as soon as possible. If you're available to start for the second cohort of January 24th, still start applying, but just make sure you're indicating what specific cohort you're looking for based on your availability. So I would relate it more towards when are you available to start versus when should you start applying? Because as soon as you've identified that, you should start applying now and just getting your name in.
Yeah. All right, guys, great questions. Keep them coming. I'm doing my best to man them. We can continue.
Nice job. Awesome. Shaun, next slide. All right. So just to kind of summarize here, and we can then open it up a little bit more into Q&A. This program, in terms of the benefits and the overall summary and our experience and everything that we've done within this role and all the teams we've built, you're going to gain highly transferable skills that are tough to see right now, but you can thank us later. That will help you in future roles for years to come. I still use skills that I learned as a BDR under my old manager to this day running teams. And it's in a different facet, but it's still things that like I learned way back in the day as a BDR. You're also going to develop a crazy strong network inside and outside of Shift that will last you a lifetime. I'm telling you right now, like the majority of my connections that I've made that I still have today were because of my efforts as a BDR. It's a really tight community, very similar to the military community and how tight it is. It's just an amazing opportunity to be a part of, and you get to do it with folks that you will keep in touch with for a very long time. You will have endless career opportunities. This is just the beginning for you. Again, this is a launching pad. Get in, work hard, like be coachable, try to get better every single day, and really, really, really focus on the end goal here, which is to catapult you to where you ultimately want to go. Because that's mine and Lauren's job, is to help fine tune your skills now and help you get to where you ultimately want to go. And it's not just AE. We have plenty of examples of people that have gone to customer success, who have gone to account executive, who have gone straight into leadership like Lauren did, who have gone to even consulting on their own and being an entrepreneur. Like, tons of opportunities available to you that, all start right here. And this is an opportunity as well, since this is a brand new program, and I'm glad that Lauren put this here as a bullet point, but you get to pave the way for future military community members to go through this program. This is the first one. It's not going to be perfect. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but the way that Lauren and I operate and how we manage is through our people. Tell us what you're seeing out there. If you recognize inefficiencies or things that we could be doing better, tell us, because it's our job to fix it. And there's going to be a lot. So the folks that we're bringing on, these first two cohorts, really have an opportunity to set the tone for future military community members in years to come, because this is just the beginning. And then finally, you get to help companies hire more veterans. That's really the idea, and that's the role that you're signing up for with this. Shift itself has a ton of additional benefits that are offered by being a full-time employee here. We do an incredible job with this. They actually just keep getting better. I think we get like $100 towards lunch now every single month, which is fantastic. And we do a lot of spiffs and competitions throughout that are extra from like the bonus potential and the hourly wages to kind of keep things fresh and exciting. And then again, like the post 9/11 GI Bill MHA benefit, definitely look into this to see if you're eligible, because given the fact that this is a fully registered apprenticeship program, those that are eligible could take advantage of the housing stipend that's available, which is a big chunk of income that can come to you. Lauren, did you want to touch base on anything else here that I may have missed?
Yeah, this is just the start. Like we said, we're trying to pave the way for future military members to go through this, and all of the network part, especially all, if not a lot of them, BDRs that Shaun and I have worked with in the past, we still speak to. We're actually going to be putting up videos on LinkedIn of just like testimonials of them working with us. I think they're pretty cool. They're pretty basic, honestly, but they're just explaining. And these people are anywhere between, like Shaun mentioned, management to enterprise sales to customer success, you name it. People have gone on to work with them. So definitely keep a lookout for them. It will be able to, give you a better understanding of firsthand people who've worked with us. I'm biased, but I think we're pretty great. But they've said a lot of really nice things about us. So look out for it.
And just again, like, Mike might be pissed at me for saying this, but I'm here because we're changing the game. I don't want to run a BDR program like other companies are. I've always had a vision for how I want to build and run a BDR program, and how it can be focused on so many more things that are way more valuable than the companies really want you to adhere to. So we have, honestly, the flexibility and the creativity to get really creative here in how we build this and design it towards the community that we're serving, and how we effectively want to run it internally here in-house. So very excited about it. And then finally, please tell your friends, tell folks you think that might be interested, get the word out. This community is super tight. I'm learning every single day. Help us spread the word. Even if it's not for you, it may be for somebody else. Opportunities are always a good thing. And we're always interested in talking to anybody, regardless if they're unsure or not. So please apply to the program. Also join a career accelerator. It's only going to help you understand what we're doing with the community members and what we're doing here at Shift. And it'll only make you a more polished candidate along the process at the same time. Definitely a benefit. That should be a no-brainer. Even if you are still applying, still would highly encourage going through a career accelerator. We've all done it. Lauren and I have even participated as speakers within it. It's a great program led by Dan Savage, who's an incredible resource that we have the pleasure of working with every single day. Awesome. And then finally, we thought we would end with like a little story here. Wait for it. Next slide. There it is. Oh, one more. So Lauren and I crossed paths at a company called Forrester, where I hired her straight out of college. But where it really all came together was another company that we went to together right after that. We started with 8 BDRs, ton of talent, no formal structure, no paths for promotion, nothing in place whatsoever. In a 1.5-year period, we ended with, I think, 35 total in the BDR organization, which included 5 leaders, 4 of which were frontline managers, all in the US in our Nashville-based office. 20 BDRs in that time frame were internally promoted, and all killing it in their next roles as top performers. Some people went the AE route, making 140 grand a year. Some people went the CSM route, making about 100 grand a year. Some went the management route, making about 115K a year, directly from the BDR organization. And this org was consistently the top consistent performing team at the entire company, which was about 1,000 people worldwide. Yeah. And we know that in our experience, by structuring a program like this, being as super detailed as we can be, and working with great people who are bought in and see the vision, this will be one of the more lucrative, better decisions that you can make. And we are so excited for the opportunity to get the opportunity to learn and hear from each one of you guys. Some of those pictures are from the team here. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun in this role. This could be the worst job you've ever had, or the most fun, or the best. And we choose the latter every single day. So let's jump on board. Lauren, I don't know if you want to add anything there. Those are all the people that got promoted. We decided to hang basketball jerseys, by the way, to kind of recognize the fact that those are the ones that have moved on and graduated throughout the programs. So we recognize, we keep a very tight alumni. Oh, and by the way, Keep in touch with a lot of our updates coming out here in the near future. You're going to hear from our alumni that have gone through our BDR programs in the past, mine and Lauren's, to kind of talk about their story and where they came from, why they took the role, and ultimately what they're doing now and what the role did for them. We're going to launch the first one right after this, so be on the lookout for that. A lot of great people we've had the privilege of working with, and we're not slowing down or stopping anytime soon.
Yep. I think you killed it there. I think I do get a lot of questions. I've talked to a lot of veterans over the past, like 7 days, and I do get a lot of questions around pay and that being a factor and whatnot. But I'm telling you, like, I took this role, Shaun's done this role. Like, it's going to set you up for what you're seeing there with an AE role, CSM roles, management roles. Like, it's only up from here, but starting here builds that foundation. And I strongly think that it's the main way for you to be successful.
Travel requirements. There's a possibility of everybody coming out for like a week or so in Nashville, where we're located, to do a little bit of training. Don't quote me on that, but that's probably it. This is a fully remote role, so wherever you're located, you can stay there, work remotely out of your home. We are also very experienced in working with big teams remotely and can really facilitate a culture from that as well.
Yep. A lot of what we've done here included time in COVID. It was actually the start of it. So we had to get very creative with managing teams remote. And I feel like we got a really good grasp on how to do it.
We'll never forget that period. That was wild.
It wasn't fun in the beginning, I'll be honest, but we figured it out and we're better off from it.
We did do a March Madness tournament, which was probably the greatest decision we made during that period.
Yes, we did. Like we've talked about, we like to have fun. And Shaun said it best, this can be the best or worst job. It's how you make it. And yeah, we always choose the latter every single time. And we want to make it fun. We like to throw in spiffs, competitions, a lot of internal healthy competitions, March Madness stuff, anything.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions that we may have missed? Any last words? Hopefully this answers a ton of questions. Thank you all for your interest, for reaching out. That was really the idea here, is to kind of elaborate on a lot of what the job description may or may not have told you and a lot of questions that we have seen. Hopefully we did a good job here. But again, don't be a stranger. Like, if you have any questions, ping us at any time. We'll do the best we can to get back to you as quickly as possible. Please, if you're interested, apply soon. We're getting a ton of interest. We have a lot of people already in the middle of the interview process right now. Thank you. It's been amazing. And, again, like, this is just the beginning. It's only going to get better from here. So super excited.
Yeah. And if you guys have future questions, I'm trying to field all the ones I can. It looks like, feel free to message Shaun and I over LinkedIn. We wanted to do this to bring everybody together to answer questions live, but we understand things pop up later on. Don't hesitate to message us on LinkedIn. We can help answer them best we can.
Give it up for Shon Washington. Shaun, really, really appreciate you this entire time setting this up. We know you're super busy and you took a lot of time out of your day and want to recognize that fact. So appreciate it.
Thanks. Happy to help.
Cool. All right. This concludes our LinkedIn Live session with 2 minutes to spare.
Happy Friday, everybody. Hope y'all are doing something fun.
Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.
See you guys.